So this is your opportunity to increase that power gap by putting them in their place, as they likely crave. Before jumping into these 3 final strategies, let's quickly recap the content we discussed last week. When a submissive is disobedient in hopes of experiencing their fantasy version of domination, punishment isn't what they're after. It's the intensity and power gap of being corrected, called out, and put back in their place, viewing any punishment as a means to an end or a cheap substitute for the dominant authority and fire they seek. Testing is another strategy, and by testing, I mean small passive acts of defiance with the hope that you, as the dominant, will notice the half-ass obedience and again correct them, call them out, and put their whole ass back in their place as you assert your dominant authority. Questioning is the third tool, and this involves subtly questioning the dominant's choices, methods, timing, etc., with the hope of irritating you and bringing out that aggressive energy that defends yourself and your skill set to widen the power gap. Submissives, such as smart-ass masochists who chronically backtalk or sass, are after a wider power gap and think they can accomplish that by forcing you to be more dominant through their verbal resistance. So continuing on with this discussion, hinting is another strategy used by submissives as a passive attempt to gain more dominant expression. And this is often coupled with comparison, where a submissive may attach previous partners or experiences to this method, such as, I saw this awesome flogger on Etsy the other day. My last dominant used to, you can spank me harder if you want. The problem is, this strategy often emotionally backfires. The logic from the submissive purview is, if I hint at what I want because I have too much insecurity or rejection sensitivity to ask for it directly, my dominant will either notice and give it to me, which is a win, or my dominant will get irritated by it and shut me down, which is also a win because it creates a wider power gap. But these submissives fail to consider how their dominant will subconsciously interpret these messages, how they really land on a deep level. If you receive these types of passive, hinting, comparing statements regularly, you'll receive a very clear and consistent message. You're not enough. You're not enough. The submissive has all these desires and all of these needs and all of these experiences and all of this energy, and you just can't keep up. You're not doing enough, you're not playing enough, you're not dominant enough, and you need to do more and do it better and do it fast. That's the pressure that so many dominants feel when they receive this hinting and this pushing in these passive-aggressive ways. So submissives, you need to understand that this message will kill your dominance drive, and it will cripple their creativity. And drive and creativity are foundational elements of domination. Dominant expression comes from dominant empowerment. And when you use this method, submissives, you're essentially trying to eat the fruit of empowerment when you're sowing the seeds of insecurity. You need to understand dominance. Feigning is just that, faking. Feigning, faking, feigning, faking. It's acting. You command your submissive to go clean the kitchen, and they don't call their safe word, but instead try to guilt you by explaining how they have all these other vanilla responsibilities to do first, but they'll get to it when they have time. They're feigning pushback here. Because if they truly were overwhelmed with vanilla responsibilities, they could call their safe word, they could call porch time, and you could renegotiate, but they didn't do that. So this is your opportunity to increase that power gap by putting them in their place, as they likely crave. Excuse me, I just gave you a command. You can either call your safe word and we negotiate this, or you drop what the fuck you're doing immediately and obey me. What's your choice? Alternatively, submissives can also feign displeasure or pain, such as whining that you grabbed their arm too hard when you were pulling them back to you as they were walking away. This is not the time to back down. This is not the time to get in your head. This is not the time to feel bad, question if you're being abusive, any of that. This is the time to use some of the techniques I illustrated in my erotic communication guide on Patreon and verbally volley with your submissive and increase their submissive arousal. And this could sound something like, oh, shut up. I know you like it. Aw, did mommy hurt my delicate little pouty baby? Oh yeah? You keep this little act up and I'll show you just how much pain my hands can cause. You get the point. Even if you were a bit too aggressive in your grip, if the submissive was genuinely bothered, if the submissive was genuinely triggered by it, they have every opportunity to, again, call their safe word or call porch time, depending on the parameters of your dynamic. But unless that happens, dominance, you're in the clear. You're in the clear. This is precisely why creating a basic fence line or boundaries for your DS interactions is so crucial. It can be tricky, but it's crucial. So to help you out, I've given you everything you need in my Power Exchange bundle for newbies on Patreon. You'll get all the tools you need to quickly and effectively build the fence line for your new dynamic. Just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica to get instant access. And finally, we get to roleplay, which I know feels quite awkward or fake to many of you dominants. So I'm hoping to set you free with some wisdom today in this area by saying that roleplay is often a very easy way for submissives to get a greater power gap because they can hide behind the role, both for a broader range of expression as well as use the role as a cop-out if they get called out or embarrassed. Like, I was just playing, I didn't really mean it, that sort of thing. And as we discussed in part 3 of this series, although any displeasure, aggression, etc. is fake, it can feel real. This is precisely the same principle as funishments. Funishments are not authentic punishments. Punishments are rewards wrapped in role play that serve to widen the DS power gap. Punishments are those things that the submissive claims or feigns displeasure, but they actually enjoy. Like a smart-ass masochist saying, please don't spank me, I promise I'll be good. This is your opportunity, dominants, to widen the power gap by perhaps grabbing them and playfully smacking their ass. You'll be good, huh? Why don't you get on your knees and show me just how good you can be? If you can enter into these interactions with the assurance of your character and integrity, the security of the fence line, and the health of the boundaries you and your submissive have established, you will enter a realm of almost limitless possibilities with flirting, play, and deeply intimate levels of connection. So LX Army, thank you so much for joining me for this series. I truly hope this content helped you see your dynamic and play through a new, empowering lens that fosters play and passion in your relationship. Be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because I'm about to launch, like we've talked about throughout this series, hinted at, I'm about to launch a brand new series that will equip you dominants with the tools you need to identify and pull out every nasty root of imposter syndrome that is crippling your creativity and killing your confidence. You do not want to miss it. I'll see you in the next video.